Pancake, everyone! The realities of our life are full of people who earn huge fortunes through illegal ways and frauds. But what happens to those who, after reaching the Forbes list, fall into the hands of figures of justice and law? Let's talk about the outstanding head of a gangster group in this issue. What was the life path of one of the most famous drug lords in the history of modern man? El Chapo is a nickname translated as Shorty. In fact, his name is Guzman Lara, born in 1957 in a very poor family of farmers. He doesn't have a full-fledged education, even at school. In his early years, he had to sell fruit and help his father to feed his family. Studying happened from time to time, and at the age of 15 he finally abandoned the idea of any education. My father was not distinguished by law-abiding. Although in official words he was a cattle breeder, but in fact he was engaged in opium cultivation. Joint life with his son didn't work out because of frequent conflicts and misunderstandings. His father put Guzman out of the door of his native house at the age of 15. For some time he lived with his grandmother, but at the age of 20 he left the small town where he was born and moved in search of a better life. From there his criminal world began, in which he even managed to get married twice. The first time was at the age of 20, and in this marriage he had 3 children. In the second marriage 4 more children were born. There is no exact data how many heirs he has in total, because in addition to children in marriage there are also those that are behind him. Different sources claim that from 12 to 15 people of different ages. Unfortunately, they began to suffer the same fate of activity as the badly known father. Having such control in the field of prohibited substances for a long time, he was considered elusive for all existing special services hiding from them, somewhere in the mountains of Mexico. And if he fell into the hands of the guardians of justice, he managed to escape. Was he really that elusive and inaccessible? The slippery slope began with cooperation with the already established drug lord, the godfather of supplies, Miguel Angel. El Chapo was his student and adopted all the subtleties of such work, managing even after the teacher's imprisonment to split Mexico's largest drug cartel, the Sinaloa cartel, and become the head of this criminal organization. For the first time, he caught the eyes of the law warders in 1993 and was sentenced to 20 years for drug trafficking. While serving time in prison, he came up with an escape plan that was carefully planned and supported by a group of about 100 people. After being in prison for 8 years, in 2001, El Chapo escaped, safely hiding in the depth of a laundry van. There were no victims. He managed to escape because the staff at the place of serving the sentence was bribed. The persecution of him by the special services hasn't stopped. 3 years later, there was a detailed plan for his arrest, an unexpected capture, from which he miraculously managed to escape and not fall into the trap. For manipulation, already in 2005, members of his family were arrested, but this didn't help to arrest the Baron himself. In 2015, he led a high-profile showdown with Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, leader of international Islamist terrorist organization, for destroying a batch of drugs and threatened reprisals. The last arrest occurred in 2016, and already in 2017 he was transferred to U.S. court, where he was convicted of international drug trafficking, conspiracy to launder income, and the use of firearms. The punishment is life imprisonment without the right of early release. Black PR is also PR, is an ideal phrase that is suitable for describing this situation. One of the most important achievements for which Guzman is respected in criminal gangs is the management of the largest organization that supplies 60% of banned substances to the United States. He had about 600 planes and helicopters that smuggled that specific cargo. There is no bigger drug cartel in the world than Sinaloa. Forbes magazine recognized El Chapo as one of the most influential people in the world who practically controls the entire drug market of the United States. Thus, he was among the 10 richest Mexicans. His fortune totaled more than $1 billion at the time of 2011. Another conditional asset was the recognition that Guzman Lara surpassed one of the most popular Colombian drug lords, Pablo Escobar, in scale. Guzman's escapes are recognized as one of the most perverted and carefully thought out because no one has been able to intercept him for all that time. Interpol itself was looking for him. Not every criminal can boast of such great attention of the authorities to his person. The US authorities estimated the information leading to El Chapo at $5 million and Mexico at $3.8 million. What is the most unusual prison in the world? The prison is known as Supermax. This is one of the correctional institutions that provides maximum control over prisoners and protects against unauthorized intruders into the territory. Some of the most dangerous criminals in the world are being held there, who threaten not only ordinary citizens but also the national security of the country. Most often, people with the most serious crimes get into this prison: terrorists, leaders of criminal organizations, serial maniacs, intelligence officers, and former CIA agents who collaborated on other countries. Now, there are about 430 criminals who have been assigned one of the 6 levels of existing security. One of these prisons is Florence, in Colorado, where Shorty went for life. The area of the prison is more than 1.5 million square feet and consists of 3 blocks which have different levels of control. The maximum security unit includes contactless monitoring of prisoners. Loneliness is considered one of the most difficult trails in such a conclusion. 23 hours a day, the punished person sits all alone, without contact with others, and only 1 hour a day is allocated for sports, in the gym. They communicate with visitors exclusively through glass, but there is a separate chapel for religious services on the territory. There is also a descending steps program, which is used in many prisons of this level. It lasts for 3 years, and its essence is that gradually prisoners are moved to less protected areas, with the opportunity to go out into the fresh air. Such a privilege is given only to those who will not be offended and will not commit blunders obeying the regime. Dear viewers of the Pancake channel, if you like our informative releases with interesting facts, support us with your like and subscription for the work done. Enjoy watching. Under such strict conditions, the rooms of the criminals themselves look even sadder. The cells themselves are very small, only 7 by 12 feet, made of a single cast concrete of an oppressive gray color. The windows are rather just glimpses of light in this setting, 3 by 47 inches, that are arranged in such a way that prisoner will not even be able to determine which part of the complex he is in. They have only a view of the sky and the roof above the window. The room has a chair, a table, and a cot, very minimalistic. There is also a toilet and shower with a timer to prevent flooding. There is a sink, but there is no faucet in it, because it is considered potentially dangerous. The mirror is replaced by highly polished steel. There is even lighting. Steel doors and another one in the form of a lattice with a small window to communicate with the personal jailer. The food is delivered by them. If there is no violation of discipline for the prisoner, he can be given a TV or radio, on which only entertainment, religious, and educational channels will be broadcasted. Also, any communication with the outside world as well as the media on the territory of the prison is strictly prohibited. What is now known about El Chapo and his family? The culprit himself will be in Florence prison until the end of the days allotted to him, without the possibility of early release. The US court considered that his crimes before the law were too serious, because in addition to trade and distribution, his activities led to constant showdowns between people, and as a result, shootings for grams. In 6 years, his business has killed 764 people, and a limitless number of lives have been crippled. His wife, Emma Coronel, was considered the queen of the drug business and a style icon. But it didn't last long. She was detained at Dulles Airport and charged with trafficking, smuggling, and organizing her husband's escape from prison. A United States court sentenced her to 3 years in prison. Ovidio Guzman Lopez is one of El Chapo's sons who followed in his father's footsteps in business. He was arrested and charged with conspiracy to distribute drugs for importation, also involving the accomplice of the crime, Joaquin Guzman Lopez, his brother. The detention of the first was so loud that there were shootings and arson of vehicles. 29 people were killed in the collision and 21 people were detained. So far, the Mexican authorities haven't commented on the transfer of the criminal into the hands of the United States. One of his sons was killed in a shopping mall by order of the drug cartel Beltran Leave, marking the beginning of the war with El Chapo in his Sinaloa. The guy was only 22 years old. There is practically no family member who hasn't been affected by this business or hasn't been punished for what he has done. Write in the comments, do you consider such methods of punishment humane towards criminals? Or maybe life imprisonment is too harsh as a punishment? Dear viewers of our channel, do not forget to subscribe and like the video in order to see us in your recommendations as often as possible. This was a Pancake with you.